In his book, Atomic Habits, James Clear says, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And if you're anything like me, you've definitely read Atomic Habits. I have actually read it 3 times. And if you clicked on this episode or you are listening in a podcast, you are probably tired of waking up feeling like you're immediately playing defense because your kids need you. You are trying to squeeze in a workout before your toddler hears you and then gets up and comes into your home gym where you are, or you want to become a morning person, but you are sabotaging yourself at 11 p.m. every night, scrolling TikTok, scrolling Instagram, or maybe you want to make your mornings more productive and you want to tackle some tasks, but you constantly get caught in this loop of just simply not doing that and not following through. I have been a morning person for 7 years now, and my routine now might look Pinterest inspired to some, but it was not always that way. When I first started getting up early, this is what my routine looked like. I would wake up 30 to 45 minutes before I was supposed to be at the gym, and that includes the drive time to the gym, all right? So I would get my clothes on, I would grab a banana, I would grab a cup of coffee, I would head out the door, I would shower at the gym. All my toiletries and clothes and lunch, it all had to be packed the night before. So this episode is going to feel like a gentle slap in the face, lovingly, always lovingly, because being a morning person is all about systems. If your systems suck, your morning is going to feel so much harder than it has to. So early mornings also are about staying rooted in reality. And when I need you to stay rooted in reality, what I mean by that is I need you to be real with yourself. What can your morning actually look like? And maybe your mornings will look like mine did back in 2018, going to the gym with a banana cup of coffee and I still had my eye crusties in. Maybe that's what your mornings are going to look like to start with. And I don't want you to just consume content from this episode and think, well, that'd be nice. No, there is practical advice in here for every single person listening. I don't care what walk of life you're coming to me from. I don't care what your current routine looks like. This episode is for you. There are applicable things throughout this entire episode that you can take and you can take action on tonight. But the thing is that there are 9 points in this episode. And if you try to tackle all 9 of these suggestions overnight, you are going to feel like you are spinning out of control. So I want you to take 1 or maybe 3 things, probably 3 max, from this list of ideas and apply them tonight. Number 6 is my absolute favorite. So without further ado, let's get into it. Number 1, I want you to do a nighttime audit. Notice I said nighttime audit. I didn't say nighttime routine. Because if I asked you what your nighttime routine was, I think you would probably list out things that you don't actually do, but that sound nice. So instead of thinking of like, oh, this like aesthetic nighttime routine, I want you to think of more of a nighttime audit. So when you reflect on your previous week, or maybe even just the day that you're currently in, ask yourself this: what made my morning chaotic this week? What has stressed me out so far? Which ties in with the chaos. And what was something that I used as an excuse for my morning to not go as smoothly or for me to not follow through with my mornings? Here are some things to maybe get your mind going. I have a massive list. I'm going to try to consolidate it down to just a few. One of these probably applies to you. Maybe you didn't lay out your clothes the night before, so then you're having to tiptoe around the house using your phone as a flashlight, trying to grab things out of the drawers, trying to not wake your spouse, your partner up, trying to not wake your kids up. Maybe you forgot to charge your watch or your headphones, which honestly can kind of send us over the edge. Something as simple as that can send us over the edge. Maybe you got up and your kitchen was an absolute disaster, or maybe your living room was absolutely cluttered with toys. Maybe this is what applies to me. This is something so petty that applies to me. Hair ties. Why have I not gotten in the rhythm of laying out hair ties the night before? Because my drawer in the bathroom is a black hole, and it's also very noisy. And yet, why do I always forget to lay out hair ties? Something that simple can really send us over the edge. So, what in that list struck a nerve with you? What, as I was reading through these, did you say, oh, that's me? She's got me. Because for me, like I said, it's always the bathroom setup. If I can have my bathroom set up, I'm like, okay, I have walked in to an area that has been set up the night before. So let me follow through, because I promise you this. You can get to a place where you have systems that work for you. So remember this, systems matter, systems come first. And I promise you can get to a place where you crave your morning routine and where the vibes are there. The vibes are just immaculate. But first, you need functionality. Systems matter more than aesthetics. Aesthetics can come, they can come, but systems need to be established first. So I have a task for you, and you might be driving down the road. So obviously don't do that if that applies to you, but maybe you're on a walk, and you can do this right now. So I want you to open the notes section of your phone, or maybe you're a pen to paper kind of person. I don't care. Get out something that you can write these ideas down on, okay? I'm gonna go on with open the notes section of your phone. So I want you to title the top of this Nighttime Audit. And then I want you to create a checklist. You know how in the notes section of your phone, you can add a checklist, and then you can kind of tap on those dots, and it can just make you feel so accomplished when you shade in one of those dots that you completed, whatever it was. So I want you to think about those things, maybe from the list that I just mentioned, things that irritated you in the morning from this past week. So maybe it was, I didn't lay out my clothes in advance. So on your nighttime audit, add lay out clothes on the bathroom floor and make that a little checklist item. Maybe you forgot to charge your devices. I want you to add that to your nighttime audit, even if they don't need to be charged every night. Like your watch does not need to be charged every night. Your headphones don't need to be charged every night. However, if you add it to your nighttime audit, the satisfaction you will get from simply clicking on that box as a completed task is so satisfying. So even things that you don't need to do nightly, I still want you to add them to your nighttime audit, because there will be a night that you need to do them, and you're going to be so glad that those things were on the list. Maybe your baby is up super late throughout the night, or maybe they're up multiple times through the night. That can really send you over the ledge. But there's nothing that we can do about the babies waking up, right? But we can have backup plans. So I don't want our babies to always be excuses for why we can't do something, because it's life, right? Like if you have kids, there's no way to it but through it, as I like to say. But you can have a approach to mornings when you are absolutely dog tired because your kid was up multiple times through the night. So here's what I want you to add to your nighttime audit. I want you to give yourself an option of 3 workouts the following day based on how good or how bad sleep was the night before. So maybe option 1, your sleep was decent. Maybe your baby didn't wake up at all. You have the capacity to complete most, if not all, of your workout the following day. So that's option 1. That's best case scenario. Option 2, maybe the baby slept bad. So you're going to do a 25 to 30 minute version of your workout. Decide in advance what that looks like. So like for me, in my app subscription, we have progressive overload blocks. They are always the 3 strength exercises that follow our warm-up every day. So if we did the warm-up and then those 3 progressive overload block strength exercises, that's going to take under 30 minutes to complete. So maybe that option 2 is, hey, I'm just going to do that progressive overload strength block of work, and it's going to take me 30 minutes. So I'm not going to complete the whole workout because I didn't get as much sleep last night as I would have liked. That's option 2. And then maybe option 3, the baby slept terribly. And maybe you're now a zombie and you just need to walk on the treadmill. What I still want you to do, I still want you to plan and allow for 25 to 30 minutes of that walk. Because in the moment, you're going to think, what's the point, right? But trust me, that 25 to 30 minutes of walking is more about you staying in the habit and learning how to navigate life as a parent to young kids. And staying in the habit is going to matter more than that actual workout itself. We are just trying to keep the ball rolling down the hill. So keep those workout options already planned out in advance, because it's going to lower your barrier to entry, even if your sleep is absolute trash the night before. So as part of your nighttime audit, another thing can be, hey, these are going to be my 3 workout options based on how baby sleeps, therefore how I sleep the night prior. Deciding on those in advance is going to give you permission to do less if you need to. Maybe your kitchen clutter or your living room clutter absolutely sends you over the ledge. Personally, kitchen clutter is just, it's never going to stop for my family personally. And it's something that I care about, but I don't let it stop me from doing something I'd rather do more. As much as I hate to say that, kitchen clutter is never going to prevent me from going to the gym and getting a workout in. Personal preference. But for some people, if you get up in the morning and you walk into your kitchen and your living room and it just sends you over the edge, I want you to set just an 8 to 10 minute timer the night prior and get as much done as you can. And as soon as that timer goes off, just stop. Stop wherever you are and say, you know what I was able to get accomplished tonight is good enough, and I'm going to be slightly less ticked off in the morning when I walk in here because it's going to be a little bit more clean. Like I said, if your headphones or if your watch, add that to your nighttime routine or nighttime audit. I just said this is not a nighttime routine. This is a nighttime audit. Remember, even if we don't need to do these things every night, simply reviewing our list and checking those boxes, even if we don't need to do them, is so satisfying. Like I said, the hair ties send me over the edge. Why have I not added that to my nighttime audit yet? I don't know, but I think I'm going to add it today after I record this episode. So let's just say that you stayed up late scrolling and you just are now like hating the nighttime version of yourself. I want you to set a clock out time for all of your social media apps. Obviously, this is easier said than done, I know, but personally, reading at night helps me wind down so much more easily than if I were to try to scroll on my phone and immediately go to bed. So find something that kind of helps you just wind down a little bit, but on your nighttime audit, I want you to check off like, hey, I want that to be the last thing you check off. Hey, I'm putting my phone to bed. Check it off. Put your phone away from you. Set your alarm and then go to bed. Okay, so number 3 was do a nighttime audit, not a nighttime routine. Number 2, your phone must sleep somewhere else besides your nightstand. I know this one's gonna hurt, but if you have your phone right next to you, it is essentially like you are sleeping next to a Vegas slot machine. I want you to think about that for a moment. You are literally playing that game. It is going to be so tempting for you to not just get another hit of scrolling on your phone. So put it somewhere strategic where you already have other things attached to your morning routine waiting on you. So like maybe this is the bathroom, maybe your alarm goes off and then you have to physically get out of bed to go turn off your alarm, and then you're gonna see your workout clothes laying on the floor. It's another reminder that like you planned on this. You planned on this early morning, and this is one more reminder of this is the person that I'm trying to become. So personally, my phone is on my way to the bathroom on the other side of our bedroom. You want to physically have to get up and walk into a place tied to your responsibilities. And yes, I'm saying responsibilities because if you want to become a morning person, you owe it to yourself to become the person who does what they say that they're going to do. So it's your responsibility to follow through. This is where your consistency starts. And most people don't fail from trying. They fail from not trying long enough. Anyone can get up early one morning, but it's the people who try long enough that it becomes just what they do. So you just haven't been trying long enough if you think I'm just not a morning person. You can become a morning person. So number 2, your phone must sleep somewhere else besides your nightstand. I want you to physically have to get up and go turn it off. Number 3, build a transition ritual, even if it's just 5 minutes. And this is where I feel like my routine, my morning routine, is a little aesthetic. It can get a little woo-woo. I like to call it my morning ritual because it just feels like this cozy woo-woo type thing to me. And I absolutely love it. I go to bed craving my morning ritual. This is your flip the switch moment. So think about this. Getting up early is gonna feel harsh. And then entering into your responsibilities is also going to feel harsh. So you want something cozy and welcoming and peaceful to cushion those 2 periods of harsh things. Waking up is harsh, responsibilities are harsh. it can be short. Create a short cushion between those two things. Okay, so my transition ritual between my alarm going off and working out is coffee, devotional or reading, sometimes both, and then moving my body. Your transition ritual does not have to be long at all. It can be, and here are a few ideas if you want to try some of these. It can be as simple as turning on a lamp in your living room, starting your cup of coffee, having a pre-workout carb, letting your dog out. Even something as simple as that can be your flip the switch moment. Putting on your workout clothes can be your flip the switch moment if you need a shorter transition ritual. Maybe lighting a candle. Do not laugh. Do not laugh at lighting a candle, because there's many mornings that I light a candle during my devotional or like while I'm reading a book, and I swear it just adds this layer of coziness to my morning routine. So think like 5 minutes, that's it. It does not have to be long. Your brain just needs a cue that, hey, I'm starting the morning, okay? And this creation, like I said, this creates a buffer between those two things that sting. Waking up stings, entering into responsibilities, whether that be a workout or your kids getting up, getting them ready for school, going to work. Both of those things sting. Create something that is like cozy between the two things that sting. So remember, in 2018, my transition ritual was workout clothes, banana, coffee, leave for gym. From wake up to workout, it was 30 to 45 minutes, including my 15-minute drive time. It does not have to be long. So number 3 was build a transition ritual. Number 4, preload your environment. Stage as many things as possible. I have started gamifying this. The longer I have been like an early morning girly, the more things I think of in advance that I can set up the night before. And I loved reading Nick Bare's book, Go One More. I highly recommend it if you're also into self-help from people who are also into fitness. And he mentions that he does as many things as possible for his morning self. He sets his shoes out. He even unties his laces. He gets his socks. He separates his socks. He gets a banana. He puts it on the banister of his stairs right by his door so that he can literally get up and go. I resonated with that so much. I highly recommend that book if you want to read it. I felt like I was the girl version of him. I loved reading that book. So for those of you who do want to work out, you want that to be part of your morning routine, here's some of my ideas of things that you can do in advance. You can lay out your clothes. You can fill your water bottle. You can set your supplements on the counter. So for me, I weigh out 5 grams of creatine the night before and put it in a glass jar on my counter so that it's ready for me, because that prevents me from having to get out my food scale, get out the creatine, get out the glass jar. Everything's already set out ahead of time. Maybe you can set your resistance bands on the floor in your home gym. Maybe you can get your set of dumbbells that you're going to use for your very first exercise. Maybe you can load your barbell. I think there's nothing more annoying than having to put a 45-pound plate on each side of a barbell first thing in the morning. I don't know why that can just send me over the ledge sometimes. Maybe if that's you, you can set that up the night before. And then for those who want to have like more of a work-focused or a productive morning, I want you to have some type of buffer before like your actual workout. So if you also want to have like a productive morning and then you want to layer in a workout too, maybe these are some things that you could do. Lay out your Bible or devotional or journal or your daily planner and your pen. Lay those out the night before. Set a blanket on the couch with a candle and a lighter on your end table if you want to have like a cozy morning where you're reading or you're journaling or something like that. And maybe clean off your desk so that your workplace is inviting instead of feeling like it's full of clutter. Your environment is either helping you or it's hurting you. I want you to choose help. Like I've talked about James Clear in the book Atomic Habits. If you haven't read it, I know that all of you have, especially if you're watching this YouTube video or you're listening to this podcast. I know that you have read this book, okay? Like I said, I've read it 3 times since 2020, and he calls this priming your environment. So I'm calling it preloading your environment. So that was number 4. Number 5, I say this lovingly, don't be an idiot and just go to bed. That's number 5. This is your tough love moment, okay? You cannot out-hustle terrible sleep habits. And yes, young kids can all the time be the culprit of our sleepless nights, but we're not helping ourselves when we go to bed late to begin with. Like, you can't go to bed knowing that your kid is not that great of a sleeper. You can't go to bed late at night and then be like, I cannot believe they didn't sleep through the night when they haven't slept through the night in months. You're not helping yourself by going to bed late. So I want you to set a bedtime. I want you to honor that bedtime. I don't want you to scroll past it. If you want to become a morning person, I love you, but listen to this. If you're watching your favorite show until midnight, this is what you're doing. You're shouting from the rooftops, I care more about these curated stories on Netflix than I care about chasing my own person that I want to become. I want you to think about that for a moment. Like, if you're constantly letting Netflix just play the next episode, you're telling them that you care more about the show than you do about going to bed, getting in bed, getting a good night's sleep, and then getting up early and becoming a morning person like you say that you want to become. So I want you to treat your bedtime like an appointment. I want you to parent yourself. Okay, I'm about to talk about an Instagram reel that relates to this point. And every single time I watch it, I crack up. And you know how things are never as funny when someone's like retelling a story? That's 100% going to be the case here, but you just got to stay with me. I'm going to link to this Instagram post in the show notes because it is just hilarious. It cracks me up every single time I watch it. So it's this gothic girl, and she has a southern accent, which makes it 10 times more funny. I've posted this to my stories more than once. And she says, in the Instagram reel, she says, sometimes I'm just up too late vibing, and I just have to gentle parent myself to go to bed at a reasonable hour. Like, honey, would you like to go to bed now? And then she's like, no, I want to stay up 10 more minutes. And she's like talking about scrolling on her phone. So obviously, if you watch the video, it's way more funny because she, like I said, she's like dressed gothic, but she has this southern accent. I'm going to link to it in the show notes. But you need to parent yourself. You need to parent yourself and say, Carly, I don't need to scroll anymore. I need to put my phone away. I need to be an adult. I need to stop scrolling. And here's another shot of tough love. Do not tell me that you want to become a morning person if every single morning you hit the snooze button. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that you want to be a morning person if you hit snooze, because every time you hit snooze, you're saying to yourself, I would rather sleep in and get 30 more minutes of sleep than I would rather prioritize my own habits. I really want you to think about that. Like, your habits, when you stick to them, they can generate happiness in your life. Early mornings are going to suck for a little bit, but then you're going to start to crave them. Because the longer you do it, the more you start to crave it. And I want you to really parent yourself. Number 5, don't be an idiot. Go to bed. Go to bed. Number 6, this is my absolute favorite. And I feel like as I get to talking about this, I'm going to sound like a backwoods preacher that's like running up and down the aisle shouting at the congregation, because this is how passionate I am about number 6. It is Audit Your Consistency. And I actually have a free resource that I'm going to link to in the show notes for you to be able to audit your consistency, okay? I have a free habit tracker so that you can hold yourself accountable to your early morning routine, if that is something that you want to start doing, because there is nothing like the satisfaction of seeing your consistency stack up over time. It is addicting, okay? So whenever you shade in a box on this habit tracker and you mark it as complete or that you followed through, your brain releases this tiny hit of dopamine. And I know that we know dopamine is like the pleasure chemical, but it is also the motivation chemical. Okay, so when your brain sees that shaded box, it sees evidence of progress. It rewards you for completing that action, and then that makes you want to repeat that behavior tomorrow. So that's exactly why checking off a to-do list feels so good, because your brain loves completion signals. I'm one of those people that if I do stuff that wasn't on my to-do list, I add it to the bottom and I cross it off. That's the type of person I am. I love getting to the end of the day and thinking, like, because every mom feels this way. You get to the end of your day and you're like, what did I do all day? And then I like seeing that massive list. I'm like, Carly, you did a lot today. Look at this list. Look at everything that you did. And I know that crossing through those things is going to give you so much satisfaction. Shading in that box on your habit tracker is going to give you so much satisfaction, because a visual tracker gives you micro progress hits every single day. So maybe you have a goal weight. Or maybe you really are like, hey, I want to become a morning person, but you are not there yet. Maybe you want to lose 20 pounds. Maybe you want to develop a morning routine that you can stick with no matter what, but you're not quite there yet. What a habit tracker allows you to do is see progress today in real time with the box that you're going to shade in because you followed through with what you said that you were going to do. Even one shaded box is going to be enough to improve your mood, improve your motivation, because it is becoming your identity that you are the person who does what they say that they're going to do. Not what you hope that you're going to do, but what you actually do. The shaded in box is proof that you did that. So whenever you shade in the box, like this is what your brain is saying, I'm the type of person who follows through. And you know, like how Apple Watch has movement streaks. I know that my Garmin watch, if I hit my step goal so many days in a row, it alerts me of that progress. And I know that Snapchat, even one time Snapchat had like this streak feature. My Peloton bike tracks my consistency. And if I haven't done a ride in a while, it's like, hey, here's a push notification from Peloton. Where have you been? So it tracks your consistency. Because when we build a streak, even a tiny one, we then feel the pressure to maintain that. And losing a streak feels worse than the effort it took to keep it going. I'm going to say that again. Losing or breaking a streak feels worse than the effort it would have taken to continue the streak. So, as people, we are naturally going to fight to keep that streak going. So it becomes this feedback loop. First, you take the action, and then that action leads to evidence that you followed through. And then that evidence of you being someone who does what they say that they're going to do leads to confidence, which then leads to more action. Because every time you fill in that square, your brain is saying, hey, great job, do that again. Great job, do that again tomorrow. And it creates this visual streak that you can see on paper that your brain doesn't want to break. It turns actions into evidence that you are someone who follows through. So the more that you fill up those boxes, the more that you believe you can keep going. And this ties into my another penny in the jar mentality, because when it comes to your visual habit tracker, this is an audit for your consistency. Each day does not feel like much in the moment. But when you look back across a month and you see all of those shaded in boxes, like that's why the habit tracker works. It is literally training your brain to choose consistency. So I'm going to talk about that feedback loop again. I'm just going to give you those points again. First, you take the action, and then you have the evidence that you did what you said you were going to do because you shaded in the box on your habit tracker. And then that's going to give you confidence when you see all those shaded in boxes, which is then going to lead to more action because you love who you're becoming. So action, evidence, confidence, more action. That is the positive feedback loop. So after tracking your consistency with these shaded boxes, I want you to ask yourself, like, what was my goal and how many mornings or how many days did I follow through with that? And what helped me follow through? Like maybe what got in the way of me following through? What is one small tweak I can make next week to be more consistent? And I'm not talking about a million changes. Like what is one change I can make so that I can be more consistent next week? So my favorite was number 6, audit your consistency. And don't forget about that free habit tracker. I'm going to link it in the show notes. Number 7, create a morning mantra because you need an identity that your decisions anchor to. Now listen, I'm not getting woo-woo. I'm being for real about this, okay? I'm not talking about some fluffy affirmation that you don't actually believe, but you tell yourself. No, I'm talking about something that doesn't make you cringe, something that you can really believe deep down, something that you actually can buy into. So maybe yours is, I'm the mom who shows up before my kids wake up. 4 to 5 days a week, I'm the mom that shows up. Maybe if you're not a mom, maybe I'm just someone who keeps promises to myself. Like what I say I'm going to do, I do. I'm a follow-through-er. I just made up that word, a follow-through-er. That's who I am. Maybe your mantra is, my day is better when I wake up early. It can be something as simple as that. Mine is another penny in the jar. I referenced it in number 6, but if you're new here, this is it. And I'm going to read this verbatim. If you put a penny in a jar, it feels so insignificant. That penny represents one day of sticking to your habit of maybe getting up early, working out, hitting your macros, nailing your calorie deficit. One day can feel so minor, almost like it doesn't matter, but it does. Because a lot of one days, and I'm holding up air quotes, a lot of one days create a week of consistency. Lots of weeks create a month. Months create years, decades, a lifetime. And when you deposit that penny, it doesn't just sit there. It builds compound interest. The compound interest is the habits you're building. So early mornings don't necessarily get easier, but you simply negotiate with yourself less. You do what you say you're going to do. So the simple act of showing up is building that compound interest. And when you look back over the course of a month and then a quarter and then a year, you can become a totally unrecognizable person because of that another penny in the jar mentality. So I want you to decide, what is your morning mantra? And if you don't have one, please steal mine. Another penny in the jar. So that has resonated with so many of you. It's actually what this podcast is named after, the Daily Penny. Another penny in the jar. So number 7 was create a morning mantra. Steal mine if you don't have one. Number 8. This is number 8 out of 9, so we only have one more after this. Number 8, reduce your decisions to almost zero. So I want you to ask yourself, like, how many things can I do in advance? Because decision fatigue absolutely kills us. Now, this one goes hand in hand with preloading your environment, but I also feel like it needed its own category. I want you to reduce your decisions down to almost zero. So here are some ideas and extensions of what we've already listed, but some actual ideas that you can take and apply to your week. Number 1 is you can pick 1 to 2 breakfast options for the whole week. Now, sometimes people will be like, I can't repeat foods, but then when I ask them what they generally eat, they list out like 1 to 2 things anyway. So yes, you can. You can repeat meals. Not every single meal has to be this incredible experience and indulgence. No, you have things that you know you like. If you repeated those things, those 1 to 2 things, that is automation. And if you can automate as many things as possible and down in your environment, and you can reduce your decisions to almost zero, you will realize, wow, I actually can follow through. I was just making myself have all these decisions that I had to make on the fly. So pick 1 to 2 breakfast options for the whole week. That will help your morning run more smoothly to begin with. And then this is something that hits so home for me. Buy the same workout attire, but in various colors, so that you know what you love no matter what you're wearing. This is me. I have a pair of biker shorts. You see me wear them almost daily. I own the exact same pair of biker shorts in 4 different pairs, but the same color. I was about to say 4 different colors. No, I have the same pair in the exact same color. You can also have a consistent weekly morning template where you literally time block your morning ritual. So maybe this is an idea. If you wake up at 5, maybe this could be your morning routine. Wake up at 5, 5:05 you have coffee. 5:10, sit down and do your devotional or read a book or journal. 5:30, put on your workout clothes. 5:40, start your workout. 6:20, finish your workout and shower. 6:30, wake up the kids. You get the point. I just gave you a template. If you wake up at 5 and you have to wake up your kids at 6:30, there's a template that you can follow. You're welcome. The fewer decisions that you make before 7 a.m., the more consistent you will be. So number 8 was reduce your decisions down to almost zero. Number 9, final one, treat your morning routines as seasons, not rules, because your routines will change. My pregnancy routine looked different than my postpartum routine. My postpartum routine looked different when I was in High Rocks prep. And in my own life, because of my husband's schedule, he's a football coach. During football season, my routine and my morning looks different than it does in the spring and the summer, which is his off season. Your summer break might look different because your kids are out of school. Morning routines can be seasonal. They do not have to be permanent. So let yours evolve instead of just quitting every single time life shifts. So just for a personal example, During football season, my husband has to leave the house at 6:30. So that I know that I have to be done with my workout and leaving the gym by 6:25 so that I can drive home, and then him be driving out of the driveway at 6:30. So I generally wake up between 4 and 4:30 during this time of year, during football season, so that I can have a little bit longer of a morning buffer of reading and devotion before I have to go into the gym. But then in the spring and in the off season, they start early morning workouts. So those workouts start at 6 a.m. So I have to now be home at 5:30 a.m. And if I'm going to the public gym, meaning I'm not working out in my garage, I know that I have to be at the gym, or I have to be leaving the gym by 5:25 so that I can be home by 5:30 so that he can leave and be at football by 6. This means I wake up between 3:45 a.m. and 4 a.m. so that I can have some type of morning buffer before I start my workout at 4:30. And if that wake up time sounds absolutely insane to you, just keep in mind wake up times are relative. It all depends on when you go to bed. And if you go to bed at a decent hour, 3:45, it still sucks, but it's not as harsh as it sounds. And I know that I just mentioned time blocking, but truly time blocking helps me so much, just writing out like my intentions for my morning routine. And I work backwards. So I'm like, okay, what time do I have to be home for my husband to leave for work? And then I work backwards from that all the way to the point where I set my alarm for what time I need to wake up. And I time block out everything to that point. And I don't do this every day, but when a season changes, I have to just like remind myself, okay, I have to be home by this time, which means that I need to be leaving the gym by this time, which means if I want to work out for about an hour, I need to get there at this time, need to leave the house at this time. If I want a 30-minute buffer, I need to wake up at this time so that I can be sitting down drinking my coffee. And you get the point, like I work backwards. So in review, your number 9 was treat mornings as routines. Treat morning routines as seasons, not rules. So to review those 9 tasks that make early mornings easier. 1, do a nighttime audit, not a nighttime routine. 2, your phone must sleep somewhere else, not your nightstand. 3, build a transition ritual, even if it's just 5 minutes. 4, preload your environment. 5, don't be an idiot, go to bed. 6, audit your consistency, and don't forget about that free habit tracker linked in the show notes. 7, create a morning mantra. 8, reduce morning decisions to almost 0. And 9, treat morning routines as seasons, not rules. So if you take anything from today's episode, let it be this. If you set yourself up well, you do not have to be this uber disciplined person in order for early mornings to become your thing. It's all about systems. Systems come first, aesthetics come later. Prepare the night before, do as many things as possible to reduce the friction of early mornings, and then audit what isn't working, because showing up with consistency, even if the length of your routine varies season to season and shifts and changes, you can still show up with consistency. Repeatable routines outweigh aesthetic routines every single day. And if you can stick with simple, repeatable routines, one day maybe the aesthetic routine really can become your new normal. And I love my morning routine. And I actually believe it has become more aesthetic throughout the years, but it was not always that way. But even if you start applying like 1 or 2 of these tasks, you're going to feel calmer. You're going to feel more in control. You're going to feel more energized when the sun comes up. So if you love this episode, share it with a friend who's also trying to become a morning person, or, just get it together. Like we just are trying to get it together over here. And if you need to remove the decision fatigue that comes with deciding what your workouts should be, we have a app membership. It's a 3-day program or a 4 to 5 day strength program in my app at carlykuykendall.com. That's KarlyKuykendall.com. I'll link that in the show notes. And I want you to tonight go set up tomorrow morning, okay? Tag me on Instagram if you want another way to hold yourself accountable. I would love to be that accountability partner for you.